the title track of his 1983 Cuts Like a Knife album and one of the hits that put him on the map. Bryan Adams is now celebrating the 40th anniversary of that album, and he is commemorating the milestone with 2 new live music videos recorded at Royal Albert Hall in London, and just released his classic album on vinyl. And the Canadian rock legend joins us now, the one and only Bryan Adams. How are you?
What a big up. That's very kind. Thank you.
It's so great to have you, Bryan. Now, Bryan, let's get right to it. You wrote and recorded Cuts Like a Knife here in Vancouver 40 years ago. Take us back to 1983. What memories do you have that time?
Well, I'd been touring quite a bit, and I had put together some songs, and the idea was to go in and cut it very quickly. And I kind of felt that this album was kind of the pivotal album for us because we sort of set the groundwork up touring-wise everywhere, and it was just about delivering the right songs. And I remember we wrote Cuts Like a Knife, we wrote it in West Vancouver over at Jim Valence's house. And I can remember going back in the car that night and just back to my house and just playing it over and over and over again. I knew we had something really good when we wrote that song.
It's so exciting how it all started in West Vancouver, you said, right? Now, Bryan...
Yeah. I mean, the other song that was on that record that was straight from the heart, and I wrote that song in Kitsilano when I lived there when I was 18, and I mean, obviously it was about a 5-year sort of trying to figure out how to make the song work. And so we recorded that song, and that was the first single off of Cuts Like a Knife, and it was a top 10 single.
It's so incredible. It's been 40 years. I can't believe it. Now, how do you think the music industry has evolved, Bryan? Back then, you didn't have social media or the internet to promote yourself. What's it like now?
Well, I mean, it's just very, very different now. I mean, there's... You know, one of the things that happened in the 90s was that radio stations sort of decided that they weren't going to play multiple different types of music. They were just going to consolidate things. And so you got rock stations that only played rock music. You had sort of softer music. You had R&B stations. You had, but back in the 80s, I mean, you'd hear everything on a rock radio station. You'd hear Joni Mitchell. You'd hear Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. You'd hear a rock record, you know, I mean, it was just different.
Yeah, this is, I mean...
Go on, go ahead.
Oh, no, for sure. It's definitely evolved from back then, right? Now, now, Bryan, you're constantly touring. We know this, and you've been in the industry for a long time. Now, what do you think is the key to longevity in the music industry?
Just got to write some good songs. I mean, the only way to continue is to be able to have music. And so I've not given up on the music. And in the last 5 years, I've put out a musical. I've put out 4 different albums. And this year coming up, we're going to put out 3 albums, all recorded live at the Royal Albert Hall. As you know, 40th anniversary of Cuts Like a Knife, we put out 2 videos on YouTube. And there they are. Good editor. You got a good editor there. So we're going to put this whole album out on film at the end of the year, and we're also going to put out 2 other albums, Into the Fire and Waking Up the Neighbors. All of them recorded at... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying, not only albums do you have, the classic has just released on vinyl as well, and not only albums that you're releasing, but you're also touring. Let's talk about that. This summer, you're going to do a U.S. tour, and I know in March you're going to in Asia as well. Is that right?
That's right. In 2 weeks' time, I'll be playing in Korea and Japan, and then heading off to the Philippines, Thailand, Singapore, only to return and start my U.S. tour, because we had a 3-month tour of Canada. We did September, October, November in Canada, right across the country. So now it's time to do the same thing in America.
Yeah, the 26 cities. That's exciting. And I'm Filipino, so I'm sure the Filipinos will be so happy you're going to the Philippines. That's amazing. And
we played Philippines 2 or 3 times, and every time we play there, it's really great. So that's why we're going back. They love the music there.
Well, Well, thank you so much for your time, Bryan. Really, really great having you on our show. And enjoy your tour this
It's so
summer.
nice to see you. Thank you. Yeah, you too. Thanks. Look forward to coming back to Vancouver soon.
Thank you. The So Happy It Hurts tour with special guest Joan Jett and the Blackhearts hits 26 cities across the USA this summer.